Alright, so this video is really rambly, and I feel like the subject matter may initially and or ultimately alienate some people, as it's likely that it's directly targeted at you. If it does, well, that kinda sucks, but I really feel like this has to be said. I ask that you watch the whole video before forming an opinion, unless you're so disgusted by what I have to say that you just have to close the browser, though I hope that's not the case. So I was watching a video from a YouTuber by the name of Allosaurus Rex, and an interesting subject came up. I responded, but I guess he didn't like me very much, so I ended up talking to his viewers. The video was about narrative, both scripted and emergent, and his thoughts on how it should be implemented in games. That's summarizing, of course, but you should watch his video, because it's as good as the rest of his videos, that is to say, very. Go subscribe to him, he makes good content. Now, while many of the points he made I had already considered, he did talk about mechanical design in a way that I'm surprised I, nor anyone else I know of, have talked about before, because in retrospect it seems so damn obvious. What he said was this.
Ideas. By now, it should be obvious that while those two games are mechanically heavy, they still have a defined or at least telegraphed conceptual goal. But what if that goal is something far more simple than a statement or story about city life or immigration? What if the goal is to just be enjoyable, or a test of skill, or a great competitive piece? Well, to me that's absolutely perfect, and games are and should remain multifaceted just like every other medium. And some of the finest examples of mechanical design come from games with practically no notable narrative elements, even emergent ones. Where's the narrative design in Tetris, one of the best works of design this medium has ever seen? Maybe it's beneath the straight line block somewhere. I said this before and I'll say it again, the belief that a game is less art for emphasizing its mechanics above all else is completely absurd, and I refuse to buy into it. Mechanical design is an important art, it's just not the only important art that exists within games.
Now, I shared this video with a few friends of mine, and they remained convinced that they preferred something. One claimed that were he to pick one or the other exclusively, he would choose mechanics because his favorite game is Dark Souls. Another agreed with him, but made the concession that he really did like some games with narrative focus like Walking Dead and Mass Effect. I tried to tell them that it's silly to claim that a game focusing on mechanics is what makes a game good, and that it was all the elements, no matter how big a role they play, that work together to make the whole. In fact, the mindset that these two expressed was a rather common one, and people tend to say, I like games with a narrative, or I like games with mechanics. Now, perhaps this is a matter of preference, and indeed it likely is, but it seems rather vague and exclusionary to me. Which types of mechanics? Are you sure that you prefer a set of equations that react in a 3D space? That's really all you care about? A game, movie, play, or whatever is composed of everything. Every aspect of sound, every aspect of visuals, every aspect of mechanic, every aspect of level design, and you get the idea. To illustrate my objection, I prepared an example. Let's say I prefer mechanics. Now, what's a game with good mechanics? Chess? Can we agree chess is pretty cool? Alright. Chess. I, as a player, only care about the mechanics. Wait, this isn't chess. Oh, but yes it is. See, it's got all the pieces and even the board. That's good old chess, alright. Dang it, this is getting confusing. Alright, I'll admit that maybe the visuals of the pieces is important. We'll put those back on. Good old chess. What? What now? What? I thought you said the pieces were important. Look, we got all the pieces. Just look how pretty they are. Alright, so now that we've agreed the pieces and the mechanics are all that matter, let's play this game. Wait, I think we're kinda stuck. Can I do this? I guess so. Alright, so maybe we need the board, pieces, and the mechanics. What? What, now you need to see the board from a good angle? You're kidding me. You just want everything, don't you? Do you mean to tell me that every aspect of this game is important to the final product? Huh. So let's see that board. What the fuck? Ah, this is bullcrap, I quit anyway. Alright, so maybe that was a bad example. Let's try another one. How about Missile Command? Yeah, that's a good one. Something missing. I know. The sound. Much better. What, are you saying you get the point? Now, you can say I prefer games with a good story, or I prefer games with good mechanics, but the manner in which you engage with those mechanics and the way you engage with the story is also important. From my observations, though it could be wrong, it also seems self-fulfilling when you do get a game with limited mechanics and you quickly say, "Aw, see? I knew I wouldn't like a story game." Admittedly, among my favorite games are story games, but they also use mechanics in their own way to tell that story. Further, a game that does what it aims to do and does it well, regardless of whether it's gamey enough, can still be good. Saying a game must have this amount of mechanics in order to be worthwhile is entirely arbitrary, and I can't really see a point in it. Now, certain games that don't really have much mechanics can be terrible, but that's because the elements that are included don't work together cohesively, and maybe just the story is insanely stupid. Again, just because a series of events that takes place in a game is stupid does not mean that inherently a lack of freedom is stupid. Now, I wrote a paper cohesively analyzing The Walking Dead, and I plan to make that into a video once I've made it more video friendly, which won't take much, but I'll put it out at some point. Finally, though this may only be tangentially related, I'd like to address a saying that relates to what I was talking about, and frankly I'm sick of hearing it, though I understand how petty this pet peeve might be. There's a saying that films are 60% audio and 40% visual. Well, that's stupid because that's acting like those are the only two elements in film, and they're not. It's also saying that every single film is exactly this much of each of these broad categories that don't even conclude every element of the medium. That's like saying that food is 60% tasty and 40% looking tasty. Food also might need to be cooked to an internal temperature of 180 degrees, or need a plate, fork, and knife. You could accidentally cook something poisonous, like tofu. For that matter, what does tasty even mean? And how does something look tasty? What was I talking about? Oh right, so what the phrase is trying to say, or at least what it should be saying, is that elements of audio can be just as important as elements of visuals, or even that attention to how the elements of audio affect an experience can be just as important as how all these elements affect an experience. And I understand this is a shorter video than usual, but I really just felt like addressing a narrow issue that's quite broad in acceptance. I hope you don't hate me too much for making it, and I'll see you next time.